to a very dark and grainy edition, as Catherine declared it to be. I'm David Pomeranz. It is July the 14th, 2020. I wish you a happy Tuesday. It's going to be a beautiful day today. Get outside. It's going to be mid-80s, so please take advantage. Actually, it's high 70s, but in the sun it'll feel like the 80s. So get out there, enjoy it. We have a lot to cover today. I'm joined by my Wendy Wednesday partner in crime. We're doing a two-shot today, as they call it in the business. And we welcome you, and we have a few things to cover that are the ingredients of every show, including birthdays and menus and so forth. And then we're going to chat a little bit, Wendy and I.
Okay.
But I just, behind the scenes, Allison, thank you for your work, as always, to film this, and David Finkelstein, who's helped with the technology, and the graininess that you're seeing if you're watching this live will disappear. We'll be off the air this Friday, and then next week the shows will all be crystal clear and sharp as they are on YouTube. So we look forward to having that, and we're going to do some promotions, I believe, to get people to know that the show, if they haven't watched it yet, internally. And we're going to start featuring, Catherine was just saying, we're going to be doing some activities that are opening up and allow us to have residents in our chairs with us, and that's certainly been our goal from the start, to feature the stories and the backgrounds and the great personalities of our residents and let them shine, and we'll be doing that starting next week, so we look forward to that. But Olivia, who's to my right today, has taken her sabotage to a new level today. I've talked about it on my shows repeatedly, and I'm glad Catherine's here to see it in person. But she gave me the menu to read for today, except she gave me the menu from July 7th. So today is not July 7th, and the menu is not what it says on this. So
wow.
I will not falsely read it as she anticipated I would, and yet I will go to what I prepared so I can read it to you from my own. So that's what you call being a prepared host and avoiding sabotage. Today is the 14th, not the 7th. Thanks, Olivia. Lunch today, roasted cauliflower soup. I've never had that. Is that a favorite of yours, Wendy?
No, I do not like cauliflower or Brussels sprouts.
You ever have cauliflower crust on pizza? I'm hearing a lot of people doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So your cauliflower nowhere.
No.
So that was surprising with cauliflower. I should do something else.
Yes, you will be turned around and you'll go back.
Really? You'll send me off with my cauliflower?
Yes, you like cauliflower?
Well, you think you're close to somebody, and it just takes a little bit of cauliflower to break you right apart.
But cauliflower pizza is very good.
I hear
It
that's
tastes like
very
cauliflower,
Yeah.
right?
It's a popular crust.
No, it's instead of gluten.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know that, but if it's made out of cauliflower, it's got to taste like cauliflower.
Well, this is not the ultimate irony. Not only does she send me the wrong one.
No.
Do you know what for lunch today is? Anybody in the
Bologna.
studio?
Bologna.
Bologna is for lunch today. As if I am the signature partner to bologna. Bologna on a roll today for lunch with applesauce. There are alternatives if you're not a bologna fan. I assume there are some that are not big bologna people. You could have roasted chicken, the dark meat, very specific. Not the white meat, but the dark meat. I've never seen with that detail. Mashed potatoes, Brussels sprouts, and other items that are not cauliflower based. Dinner, potato corn chowder,
That's good.
stuffed sole Florentine. What makes it the Florentine?
Spinach, maybe?
Well, maybe somebody could send us a little note on that, because I don't know what makes it Florentine. I'm sure it's something. And there's ratatouille as well. So lots to look forward to, and Jell-O for dessert. So I hope you enjoy your meal today. And it is the 14th, not the 7th. In terms of birthdays, some nice birthdays, both famous. We'll do the famous ones first. We just have one staff and one resident. But the actress Jane Lynch's birthday today, from Glee and many other things.
She has that game show on, right? Have you seen that?
I have not.
Channel 4, some game show.
Okay, so turn to whatever channel you like and look for it, and perhaps you'll find it. Ingmar Bergman, the director's birthday today. It was Gerald Ford's birthday. Former President Gerald Ford was born in 1913 on this date. Woody Guthrie, and so let's now go to the president.
Was Ingmar Bergman's daughter Isabella Rossellini?
I believe so.
Some trivia.
So the birthday for the resident today is, I can only do the first name and the second initial, correct?
Yes.
So it's Lydia M. Lydia M., happy birthday to you. I hope it's a happy and healthy birthday year for you. Birthdays are a little bit different during this time of of COVID and so forth, but I hope you're able to enjoy it. Thank you for the additional lighting. I'm not distracted by it at all because I'm a professional. What's going on over here, doesn't bother me at all. We have a staff birthday today. It's Olive Higgins from nursing. So very happy birthday. If you see her today around the home, please wish her a happy birthday. In terms of things that happened on this date in history, Hank Aaron hit his 500th home run. Hank Aaron was a very important fixture in baseball history. There was a lot of racial prejudice around, and he was part of the process. It took many years, it still is taking many years, but really broke a lot of the barriers for baseball players. He was regarded and treated in a much more appropriate manner. And one of the great baseball players of all time, and still alive and with us, and broke the home run record for Hank Aaron, for Babe Ruth. For 714 was the number that Babe Ruth had in his career, and Hank Aaron got to 7-something, but he broke the 715th off of Al Downing of the Dodgers in Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium on April 8th of 1974, I believe.
This is like Rain Man.
I believe. I can know everything by baseball. And Easy Rider, the movie. Ever see Easy Rider?
I have, but I know it's a classic.
You have not seen that.
No, I saw Ghost Rider though the other night. Did you see that one?
What does that have to do with Easy Rider?
It's a Rider. Ghost Rider, Easy Rider. They're
I
related.
don't know. Anyhow. Easy Rider, which was a cultural big film. Did you see that, Catherine?
I did not.
So nobody here has seen Easy Rider, which is regarded as one of the most interesting films of all time.
So do you
I have,
recommend
in fact, seen it. I would recommend you see it. It's dated, but it's from a period of time in history that's interesting. So it was released in the theaters on this date in 1969. Of course, 1969 was it reflected the time period of the Woodstock years and protesting Vietnam and years, which I was a little young to know what was going
I
on.
think I was born yet.
Well, I
That's
won't
before my
comment on that
time.
because that would be a host violation. So we did weather, we did birthdays. I think we've covered all the major elements. Yes? So now we can chat a little bit.
Okay, let's
So-
get to it. What's on
So-
your mind today?
What's on my mind every day? So, if you go outside in the home, you'll see we put up some bird feeders. And through Wendy's encouragement, because we think it's wonderful for these birds to be able to get fed and be around and for us to enjoy. And we speckled them around. We had 4 set up, and they moved, unbeknownst to Wendy and I. Now all 4 of them are on one tree. And it's caused a lot of consternation on the part of Wendy and I to try and figure out. And I did follow up as she suggested that I do. She said that doesn't seem like proper. And I went to speak to the powers that be who oversee our birds and was told that it's proper. So we're really at a awkward point.
Really?
Where the bird people feel like that's good. It's kind of like if you go outside, folks, by the train lounge, and you look to your left, you'll see them all, set up around the tree, and they create a real busy bird situation. There are birds flying in and out. It's like the Grand Central of birds.
Yes.
And there's the experts that think it's social and enjoyable for the birds, and for the squirrels that are trying to climb up there as well. I know you were suggesting they should be separate, so I think we're at a tough point here, and I really don't know what to do.
Okay, here's my solution.
Okay.
Let's purchase 2 more bird feeders and have them spread out, not on the same tree. One tree, one another tree. And if the experts say they must all be together, we could do that. Or what we could do in the middle of the night, we could go and just take one and move it to another tree.
Well, they're sort of kind of bolted in. It might be a black bag job for us,
They
too.
hang from the thing.
So you're suggesting that perhaps we come back tonight around
Espionage,
9
right.
o'clock with black costumes on and climb the trees?
Maybe just move one.
This is interesting. But I know...
Okay, moving right along.
Well, I know you have a guest tomorrow. Do you want to share? I know Catherine is on tomorrow.
Catherine
Wendy
is
Wednesday,
on.
and she's bringing a guest.
Can't say
And
it's a
that's-
surprise. Tune in for Catherine and a special surprise. The hint is, it's a male with 4 legs. So see if you can guess.
As if 2 legs isn't enough. So,
But it's gonna be a good show.
so we won't talk about tomorrow, but just back to pets and so forth. I know that you and I both have a real affinity for animals and wildlife and so
Yes.
forth. Are you a member of the zoo, by the way?
No.
So you've not, if I remember our conversation, you've not spent time in the Bronx Zoo.
Well, I've been, but
not in recent times.
But, I live in New Jersey, so,
So I was thinking about some of the iconic things in New York to do if somebody was to come and visit. And since I love the zoo, and I imagine many of the residents that are watching this, and we had a Riverwalk tenant who worked at the zoo. The zoo is regarded as one of the finest zoos in the world. In fact, there's a TV show on Lifetime or one of the channels that does a show about the Bronx Zoo every week. And they feature the different animals and so forth. It's a very enjoyable show, and I'll figure out what channel and
Is the show about, like, the exhibit, or is it about the care of the animals?
Both. They take you behind the scenes, so they'll focus on the camel, and the camel's not feeling well, and you go behind the scenes and see what's wrong with the camel, and then the camel's feeling better, and then the people riding the camel. It's the whole package. But it shows you the Bronx Zoo, and I think it's one of the treasures of this this wonderful city we're part of. It's been closed due to what's going on, and we're all experiencing this COVID virus situation.
I think it's open now,
It is
right?
opening next week.
Are you going to go?
I am planning to go.
Really?
But it's starting to me to think about the things in New York, because unless somebody comes to visit you, sometimes where you live, you don't often go to things that are special about New York. So I thought I'd ask you about some of the New York attractions, since you lived in the city before you went to Jersey.
Yeah.
And I would say to you, have you been on the Staten Island Ferry?
I don't think so.
So I would say to those watching, hopefully some of these things are things you've done.
Oh, yeah,
Because there are treasures. What's that?
Catherine suggests the High Line, that part of the walking part?
Well, that's relatively new, right? That line, which starts in the 20s or 30s, they built this beautiful walking path or area where you can sit along the way, and it's beautifully floral located and zigs through all the way down a bit, right? It's about 15, 20
Have you
blocks.
been?
I bet.
So
So that's
it-
sort of a new treat to do in New York City.
Yeah. Is the zoo your favorite attraction?
The zoo is my favorite place.
What's your second favorite place?
It'd probably be the ballparks. But
Not Yankee Stadium.
well, when the Red Sox come to play Yankee Stadium, it's a very exciting place to be, but you're ahead of me a little bit.
Oh, as
Okay.
usual.
Maybe we should change chairs for a few minutes, and we can come back. Because I think you're deflecting, Ben, from the things that you've done and do. So have you been to Yankee Stadium?
Of course.
And
Loved it.
new Yankee Stadium, old Yankee Stadium?
I've been to both.
There's been 3.
Well, not like Dodger Stadium way back when.
There's a Yankee Stadium that was built in 1920 something.
Okay.
It was remodeled in 1976.
Right.
And they get in 2009.
Okay.
So did you go to the original?
No. It's too young.
What was unusual for those who are baseball fans who are watching, they have what's called Monument Park, where they celebrate the great Yankees. So they have a plaque of Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Mickey Mantle, and those are in a private area called Monument Park. But in the original Yankee Stadium, the monuments were on the field, not in a special area. So you could literally hit a ball that could run and bounce into the monument, so the players could be running into the monuments to get the ball.
Why did they do that?
I don't think anybody thought the balls would travel that far. It was way out in left center field, but in fact it did happen.
So they had a statue of a player in the middle of the field?
They're not statues, they're monuments.
What's the monument look like? It's like the player, right?
No, a monument is a monument. A statue is a
What do you
statue.
mean? Like the Washington Monument, where it's just like a straight thing?
A
Like,
monument is a curved piece of material. It says things on it. It says Babe Ruth born, died, how many years they played. It's not Babe Ruth sitting there holding a bat.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like there
No,
was like
no.
a statue
Statues
of
and
Babe
monuments
Ruth
are
there.
different. Does
like
the Washington
another
Monument
player.
look like George Washington? I think not.
Okay, to our audience, couldn't a monument also be in like the shape and the size of a real person?
Allison, when you think of a monument, do you think it's a statue?
I think it could be a collection of statues as a monument, like the Vietnam
Right
War
down there.
monument.
Right, Catherine, be brave. Is a monument and a statue different?
No.
I think it depends on where you are.
There you
Okay.
go.
It's all
Olivia,
semantics.
I dare say Olivia will take my side, but let's just try. You
Olivia-
think they're different?
Olivia looks very frightened here. Yes.
Wow, this is intense. I think the word is interchangeable, really.
The truth is, I really couldn't hear her because she had a mask on, so I really didn't hear that everybody
In
didn't
other
agree with
words, there's flexibility here, David.
me. Okay,
It
so
could have
I
been
think there's a
space
spectrum.
Statue, building, or other structure erected to commemorate a famous or notable person or event.
Thank
So it's a
you. Mm-hmm.
statue, building, or other structure.
Thank you.
it could be anything. So we're both right.
Oh,
I'm
we're
not
both
wrong,
right.
we're both right. So back to things, have you been to the Empire State Building?
Yes.
So if I remember correctly, it's the 86th floor is the
Yes.
observatory?
Yes.
Is that still open these days?
Don't know. Have you been to the Rainbow Room?
Rainbow Room was closed.
I know, but back in its day. did you
The
ever
Rainbow
go
Room,
there?
which is part of Rockefeller Center, which
Yes.
is a beautiful banquet place to eat and bar and so forth. Yes, I've been there. So you've been in the Empire State Building. Did you ever go to the World Trade Center in the original form before
I'm sure.
tragedy struck?
Yeah.
I was never at the World Trade Center.
No?
No. So did you eat on Windows of the World?
Yes, I've been there. Yeah.
Did they in the new World Trade Center? Is there a version of
I
a
think
restaurant?
so. I think so. I don't know. Not sure.
Okay. And what? And you? Okay.
I was gonna say, what about one of my favorite places is seeing tennis at the U.S. Open.
It's open. I would consider that a major New York attraction.
That's a fun destination.
I think it's a fun destination. I agree with that. But let's get back to the city. Have you been to Macy's on 34th Street?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm an expert shopper. You don't know that about me by now? I've been to all the department stores. Yes.
Have you been in Central Park and ridden a horse? I mean, I
Wow.
don't ride a horse like you're riding a horse, but more like a horse buggy.
Don't you know about my allergy?
No.
I am allergic to horses and hay. So I cannot
Do you have
go
a breaking news thing you could put on? It's like breaking news. What
I
is
don't know
it?
that. Yes. I thought you must have forgotten.
Oh, the last time you and I were at a dude ranch, I didn't think I noticed. So,
Yes.
so you've never ridden a horse? Or you tried
Well,
to?
no, I've been, okay, so I have been on one of those horse and buggy rides, and it was not pleasant because I'm allergic to horses. So I get sneezy and it's a
So you were
disaster.
doing something sort of romantic and taking a horse hayride and you were sneezing.
It wasn't romantic, very long, yeah. It was not good. That's, I've been to like the circus and then I get an allergic reaction and so I can't go to the circus and I can't ride on the horse.
The circus doesn't exist like it used to. Growing up, what was it called? The
Barnum
Bailey Circus. And if you remember properly, they used to walk the animals, I think, through the tunnels, and it was a whole thing to get them to Madison Square
Yes,
Garden.
yes.
And they stopped that. What about Madison Square Garden? You must have been to Madison Square Garden for multiple
Yeah.
things. I think Madison Square Garden is one of the more interesting venues because it's hosted so many different types of things, from political conferences. I think the Democratic conference was there with Kennedy, if I'm not mistaken. But concerts, Globetrotters, cat show, dog show,
Right.
everything.
So what have you seen at MSG that you like?
Well, the first thing that I remember seeing as a kid was the Bangladesh concert. The Bangladesh concert was to raise money for Bangladesh. It was run by the guy who was the manager of the Beatles, who was a neighbor of mine.
Oh,
So he sent my brother and I could be wrong on years, somebody so could Google it, maybe early 70s, but I was like 7 or 8 years old. And we go to Madison Square Garden, the smell of marijuana is pervasive, and the sound was rather loud. And I think I lasted about 5 minutes,
Oh.
where I was looking to get the hell out of there. But music really was not my thing. People always say, we lived across the street from the manager of the Beatles, and Yoko Ono and John Lennon were swimming in the pool, and all these things were going on, and it didn't matter to me. What mattered to me, and his name was Alan Klein, he was a manager of the Beatles for some time, controversial in the Beatles history if you're a fan of the Beatles. Actually went to jail for selling some promotional albums and had a little bit of a checkered past. But he took a liking to me because, this is a little bit maybe TMI, but lived at the top of a big hill. And I didn't know how to ride my bike at that time. And I went down the hill about 90 miles an hour, and I broke my arm, and I crashed at the gate, and I'm laying on the ground, and he was out, and came to see I was okay, and I didn't cry, and I was tough, and he decided he liked me, called me Daredevil Dave. And and he used to give me Rangers and Knick tickets because amongst his famous things, he had front row Knick and Ranger tickets. So
Wow.
he sent me to Bangladesh, no good. But when he sent me to Knicks and Rangers, pretty awesome.
Did he do that like for your whole childhood? Send you
Yeah,
different things?
yeah. Before he went to jail, I think. But it was interesting because you'd ring his doorbell and Beatles music would play. And if you're Beatles fans, and if you are, Catherine, there's a psychedelic Rolls Royce, which is part of the Beatles' history. I used to sit in it, it was sitting in the driveway all the time, and you'd have all these famous parties and things. And it really wasn't terribly interesting to me because I didn't care. I only cared. He produced a movie called The Greek Tycoon, which is a story of Aristotle,
Yes,
Onassis, and
yes.
Jacqueline, and
Yes.
Jacqueline Bisset played the part of,
Jackie
and I got a chance to meet Jacqueline Bisset taking promotional pictures by their pool. We'll just leave it at that. And that was a very important moment in my young adulthood, childhood, whatever it was.
So what other
13, 14.
celebrities did you see?
George C. Scott was there. There was always somebody popping around there. It was quite a beautiful house. He had a huge shotgun when you walked in. He was quite a character.
Did he have kids?
Kids.
So did
One
you-
lives in the neighborhood here.
Did you hang out with the kids, or no, they
The
weren't
kids were
your
not
age?
terribly sports interested, and my little neighborhood gang was more sports interested. So it was sort of a little bit of crossover here or there, but not too much. When the ice cream truck came, they all sort of unified for
Flocked.
that.
Right, okay.
The Cuban truck. Did you have a group of kids in your neighborhood where you grew up
A
too?
gang?
As you call it.
I think I should talk about your gang.
I think we covered that. Well, did you have a group that you played with in the neighborhood and stuff?
Yeah. Two doors down, there was somebody my age, and then like across the way was a girl a year older, and we got our dog actually because her dog had puppies, so we got our dog from her family. And
Still in touch with these people? Do you know
on,
what's happening?
on Facebook.
Okay.
Facebook is really good for that, you know. So
And neighborhood games were what? Hide and seek or?
basketball, riding bikes. How about you?
And whatever season was. It was football, it was wiffle ball, it was kickball, it was, what was it, kickball?
Kickball.
Can we edit that out? It was definitely not kickball.
What's about kickball?
Kickball sounds a little odd, it was like in the neighborhood. I think wiffle ball, baseball, hockey, football.
So when you went to school, did you take?
What, is this the Wendy show? Or?
Okay, go ahead.
No, I feel like.
Oh, I can't ask questions.
Maybe we could do it in a rotunda. We could have like circle around and we'll take turns.
Go ahead.
I was on to your childhood, some basketball. Did you play basketball in school?
No, but I enjoy that sport. In fact, I just played until John Sunday
Well,
was my
that's what I was
boys.
thinking, because I know basketball is a part of the family activities.
Yes.
Is that funny?
I played basketball with my two boys and my husband with my dog watching. I didn't last very long because it's been a really long time. So, but they were really, my family was so polite about it. Because every time I missed hitting the ball, you know, they let me have another turn. And they
In
let
basket.
Yeah. They let me have another turn, and they were really patient with me.
So do you play competitively? Like, is it a contest?
They do. They played 5-3-1 and around the world. And
Good
then,
games.
and then I kind of took an early break, and so I sat and I watched them, and I was kept company by my dog Daisy. So Daisy and I watched the boys play. It was quite nice, actually.
So back to young Wendy. So did young Wendy play tennis?
No, I ran.
Okay.
And I was in color guard. And I was a yearbook editor and stuff.
So when you went to Northwestern to school, did you do intramurals or
No.
did you do any sports? Or
No sports.
You left sports behind.
Yes, I was just a viewer, I watched sports. I did not play.
So Northwestern, which is a really top school in the Chicago area, right? It's one of the finer schools. Your major was journalism, was
Communication studies.
Communication. And the experience of living in Chicago was enjoyable? Or
I loved it. I loved it. I had never been to the Midwest, and I transferred to Northwestern from University of Vermont because I loved Vermont, but they didn't have communications at that time, and I had to have been a psychology major, and I didn't want to be testing mice around mazes, and you had to do that as a
Is it a
psychology
bad moment to tell you that I'm a psychology major?
Did you have to do the maze
No,
with the
I
mice?
skipped that.
You got
We
around
learned
that?
about it, Skinner and different things, but we didn't actually have to do it.
Oh, we would have to do that.
But you went from cold to cold.
Right, but Northwestern was amazing. It's, close to Chicago, beautiful campus, nice little town of Evanston. And so I spent 2 years there, got a communication studies degree. I worked at a hot dog store while I was there.
Did you? I never knew that.
Irving's Hot Dogs.
Another breaking news sound. I think they saw that. And what kind of hot dogs were these?
Irving's Hot Dogs, they were very famous.
Well, Irving doesn't
at the
really,
time.
that's probably the guy's name, but I don't think it's like what was the pickle name? The Kirby.
Oh, yeah, Kirby.
There's no Irving hot dog.
Cucumber.
Whatever. Same thing. She just reminded me that upstairs. I couldn't remember.
Kirby's. And you still haven't tried a Kirby.
I'm still not going to. But
Or
back to
blueberry.
can we go back to the hot dog for a minute? Was it like a long, skinny hot dog, or those fat, like bratwurst hot dogs?
I think it was just a regular hot dog, but I'd make French fries in the fryer, and it's like
In those
fast
days,
food.
were you eating hot dogs in those days?
Yes.
And were they distinctively good? Because people think of Chicago, they think of pizza, right?
They were very good because I made them, so, you know, they were great.
So let's
Kept
talk
coming
about-
back.
We'll get back to the New York iconic places, which I plan to talk about. Let's talk about deep dish pizza for a second. Did you fall in love with it? Was it interesting? Was it?
I liked it. I think I liked it at the time, but now as you know, I like the thin crust. It's too doughy. It puts me in a food coma, with the thick crust. It's too much. What do you say?
I like it, but I like thin crust as my favorite. Both you and I have a favorite place, which is up in, there's a chain of it. It's called Colony. So I don't know if any people are watching on YouTube, Colony Grill, which all they do is make pizza. There's I think 5 or 6 of them. I've never been to anyone but the one in Portchester.
Me too.
But it's very, very good pizza.
In fact, tonight is pizza night, Colony Grill pizza night at my house.
Because you bought it and froze it and you're going to bring it to life.
Yes.
See, I don't mind that. I think pizza can be reheated in lots of different ways, and it's enjoyable. I think sometimes when I get a pizza and I eat it and I reheat it the next day, I enjoy it sometimes more the second day than even do it on the first day.
How about cold pizza?
I'll eat cold pizza.
Is there ever an instance where you won't eat a pizza?
No. You know what? I think you and I were trying to figure out how much slices of pizza I've eaten in my life. Many. But back to New York as we spend our last few minutes in terms of iconic things in New York City. Broadway shows, you remember Broadway shows you saw over time?
Oh, I've seen many shows, yeah. Hamilton, obviously,
Did you stream that to watch that?
I don't have Disney Plus,
I'll give you my password.
so I didn't see it.
It's interesting to see it because that's the original cast. When you saw it, and I think I saw it, unless I don't think you saw the original
No,
cast
did
either.
you?
No, but
Right.
it's interesting on TV to see Lin-Manuel,
Miranda.
who was the one who did it all.
Right.
To see him in that role, so it's worth seeing.
Did you feel it was very different than, did you enjoy watching it on TV as much as seeing it in real life?
Well, the soundtrack is so endearing that you sort of, it doesn't really affect you. I mean, you're watching TV, you're not in the theater experiencing, but you really get into it. You sort of disappear into the, did you stream it yet, Kat?
Yeah, over the weekend I did.
Had you seen it in theater?
Nope. But I
So-
loved it, and I was teaching my kids. I'm like, this is what the theater is, outside of the pandemic.
And you lost yourself within it, right? You become,
Mhm.
yeah, I find when I'm
I-
watching something, you can lose yourself in without.
I had theater tickets for during this time period, which is to see the Sarah Jessica Parker, Matthew Broderick Plaza Suite.
We're married.
We're married and they're in Plaza Suite, and so I had tickets. And so they sent me a notice saying I could see it, May 25th, 2021.
Well, and Broadway shut at least for this year, right?
Yes.
And some of us wonder when it's going to really, I mean,
I know.
I guess time will tell, and I don't want to be negative, but it's hard to think of people crowded into anything right now and feeling comfortable.
Well, I feel my heart goes out to the acting community, and that's their livelihood. To just
People work in the theaters and rely on it.
I know that whole community.
But I think people who come to New York, going to a Broadway show is really high on the list. If I were to think about what people do, they want to see Times Square, they want to see maybe the Empire State Building, maybe they want to go down and see Ground Zero and be part of the memories down there of the beautiful museum they created. But going to a Broadway show is usually, I think, high on people's list.
It's so exciting, and it always is. The people on stage are so talented. It's like I watch them, and I'm like, wow. Besides just reciting the lines, but the vocals, singing and the dance. I mean, it's really incredible talent that's on stage.
And I think 8 shows a week it is, right?
Yes.
They close on Monday and they do 2 on Wednesdays and Saturdays. But to think about to do it over and over again, just for so many months and weeks and years, it's a commitment.
And if it's like a drama where, somebody dies or they're hysterical crying, and then they have to relive that every time, it's like just emotionally to put themselves through that must be so draining.
Yeah, I think I'd rather be in a comedy than if I had to do it 8 times. If I had to break down and cry.
I know, it's gotta be hard, right?
Well, that's what they do. I guess that's the discipline they bring to it. But I think Broadway would probably be in the top 3 or 4 things. And of course, restaurants. New York is known for, of course, restaurants right now are being creative. Anywhere you go now, you see people bumping out to the sidewalks. They're creating tables outdoors so people can eat outside. We're seeing it in our communities, in Riverdale and everywhere else. But restaurants in New York are regarded as some of the finest, all different types and shapes and sizes. It's really, I'm getting a look that it's 11 o'clock. So,
Oh,
Wendy, I we could go on for hours.
I know. We have to end it?
So I
Until
thank-
next time. Until
We'll
next
pause, and our next conversation take place in 20 minutes upstairs. But Allison, thank you for running the camera. David's not here, but he had certainly set this up for us. And Catherine and Olivia, well, Catherine mostly thank you, Olivia sort of thank you. And we wish everybody a wonderful day. Enjoy this beautiful Tuesday, July 14th. Get outside. It's going to be nice. No storms today. Enjoy the bird feeders if you can find them. It's Bird Central, and we'll see you again on Wendy
Tomorrow.
Wednesday. Anything else you want to say about tomorrow?
Tune in for our special treat, our special guest. It'll be good.
Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Hebrew home, good morning, Hebrew home. My heart is where the Hebrew home is. For where the heart is, that's where you find the Hebrew home. Hebrew home, good morning, Hebrew home. My heart is where